Hello, everyone. I'm Carol Laurie, the host of her Health and Spirit podcast and upcoming summit. And today we're fortunate enough to have Dr. Terry Wahls with us. Dr. Wahls is a clinical professor of medicine at the University of Iowa, where she conducts clinical trials. She's also a patient with secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, which confined her to a tilt-recline wheelchair for 4 years. Dr. Wahls restored her health using a diet and lifestyle program she designed specifically for her brain and now pedals her bike to work each day. She's the author of the Wahls Protocol, How I Beat Progressive MS Using Paleo Principles and Functional Medicine, the Wahls Protocol, a radical new way to treat all chronic autoimmune conditions using paleo principles, and the cookbook, the Wahls Protocol Cooking for Life, the revolutionary modern paleo plan to treat all chronic autoimmune conditions. Dr. Wahls conducts clinical trials that test the effect of nutrition and lifestyle interventions to treat MS and other progressive health problems. She also teaches the public and medical community about the healing power of the paleo diet and therapeutic lifestyle changes that restore health and vitality to our citizens. She hosts a Wahls Protocol seminar every August where anyone can learn how to implement the protocol with ease and success. So welcome, Dr. Wahls. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So how do you feel the microbiome influences the risk of MS and other autoimmune issues?
The research is coming out very clearly that an altered microbiome is probably the first step to a leaky gut. These molecules get into our bloodstream, and then in the genetically vulnerable person develops excessive immune response. And you can get cross-reactivity with a variety of your internal structures and set up, like in my case, MS, and others, it might be lupus or RA or other autoimmune conditions. But it begins with a leaky gut, and that leaky gut began with an altered microbiome, fertilizing the wrong bacteria and yeast that set this sequence up. Yeah, and I was working on some articles and just saw this explosion of literature that's identifying how altered the gut microbiome is in whatever autoimmune state that you want to look at, whether it's lupus, RA, psoriasis, asthma, eczema. The microbiome is certainly a factor in all of these diseases.
Such an important concept. And what do you think people can do to unalter or re-health their gut microbiome? It's really important to know about this.
What is so exciting is your bacteria in your gut divide every 20 minutes. So by changing what you eat, you fertilize either disease-promoting bacteria or health-promoting bacteria. And that's the beauty of my program, is that we have so many vegetables in there. People have higher fiber levels. And if they don't have an adequate response to increasing the vegetable intake, then I have them increase their resistant starch through things like chia pudding, flaxseed puddings.
And
you'll see changes that occur within a week. It happens very, very quickly.
Just from eating chia seed and flaxseed pudding? That's amazing.
It is very cool.
And it's delicious, too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It is really delicious. So how does the microbiome influence mood and behavior? That's something I'd like to address.
Well, some very interesting studies that looked at over time, it's over 105 days. They collected the stool, looked at the microbiome, and then mood questionnaires over this time period. And they see as the microbiome shifts, scores for stress, anxiety, depression, joy change. So that's one longitudinal study. Another cross-sectional study, and actually there are several that have looked at your mood states, anxiety state, depression, joy, stress. And again, that correlates with what microbes are in the gut. Probably what's going on is these microbes, as part of their byproducts, manufacture small molecules in the gut that get into our bloodstream that get then into our brain and are basically neurotransmitters.
So the neurotransmitters are directly manufactured in the gut and they come into the brain.
Absolutely. That is one of the working theories, absolutely. In the gut, microbes will also talk to the brain by input from the vagus nerve, which goes up to the brain as well.
That's great. So what other illnesses do you think this approach could help with or does help with?
Yeah, in our therapeutic lifestyle clinic that we ran for years at the VA, we took people with medical problems, neurologic problems, and mental health problems. So metabolically, we saw obesity, fatty liver, heart failure do extremely well, losing weight without hunger, normalizing blood sugar and blood pressures. Autoimmune conditions, a wide variety of autoimmune symptoms became relatively quiet. People were able to go off the disease-modifying meds and do very well. Things like RA, lupus, psoriatic arthritis, myasthenia gravis, MS, of course. Fibromyalgia also did very well. Then we had our neurologic problems, traumatic brain injury, Parkinson's, early cognitive decline, a wide variety of painful neuropathies, again, did very, very well. And so we worked closely with the primary care docs because as people would adopt the program, their blood sugar needs would normalize, their blood pressure would normalize, and they'd be having to adjust their meds. Pain would decline, and they're often able to wean and get off their pain meds, including the narcotics. So people do extraordinarily well, particularly if we can do this as a group, but certainly as they adopted the protocol. Wide variety of diseases, they did well because we were making their physiology work correctly, and life is a series of self-correcting chemical reactions. So they kept getting healthier and healthier, and the need for medication continued to decline.
So could you tell people about your new book and just let people know how they can find you?
Sure. Well, one of the big things that I learned is that people need to cook at home so they can afford eating all these vegetables. And it's helpful to teach them that it's fun, it's easy, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. And by showing them how to eliminate food waste, they can implement these concepts without increasing their food budget or often even saving money as they do. So we had cooking classes. And then I also, to help the public, I wrote a cookbook, The Wahls Protocol Cooking for Life, to teach people how to do this stuff and how you can do it while on a budget, how you can do it while on a time budget, because I work all day, so when I get home I want to be able to eat pretty quickly as well. So if people go to my website, terrywahls.com, we have links to the cookbook. When you get the cookbook and you put in your receipt number, we have a whole bunch of free gifts that are wonderful tools to help you in this healing journey as well. Because we're really trying to help people succeed, and my goal is to create this epidemic of health.
Well, I love that concept, the epidemic of health. And one of the things I always tell people in my practice when they say I can't afford this is if you go to Starbucks every morning on your way to the office and you order a latte frappe grande thing, which is $4.85, and then which is filled with sugar and chemicals that you shouldn't be eating anyway, and then you buy some kind of pastry, which is another $3.50 or $4.25 and has 475 calories and it's filled with gluten and sugar, you've spent, almost between $12 and $15 before you even started your work day. And you've put chemicals and sugar and gluten and inflammatory foods into your body, and you wonder why you start to feel bad. So the concept of taking that money and empowering that money in a positive way through buying healthy grass-fed meat and organic vegetables and taking charge of your food and cooking at home with your family is such a positive way to change over your health.
Yeah, I will make the observation that in my traumatic brain injury clinic, we had a lot of folks on disability with a very limited income. And so we acknowledge that, you get the best quality food that you and your family can afford. As we talk about gardening, we talk about foraging, hunting, fishing. And say, if all you can afford is canned food, that's fine. Eat the canned vegetables, drink the juice, get frozen vegetables, get things in season. And as money becomes easier, get organic. You can use the Environmental Working Group to prioritize your purchases. But we certainly had I told them it will take longer if you can't eat organically because you'll have to process all those chemicals. But you still have to eat the vegetables, and you'll still improve your health by dumping the sugar and switching to vegetables. And what I typically saw, a very common pattern is that, at first people are eating their canned vegetables and then frozen vegetables, and then they're beginning to figure out the gardening thing or the local farmers market, and then they begin to figure out how to start getting some organic vegetables. And then often, even my folks in disability find ways to get more organic food into their diet. So it's usually a process for them. But I'm mindful of recognizing some people have severe financial constraints, and rather than thinking, if I can't eat organic, it's not worth trying at all. It's like, no. You just do the best you can given your circumstances. It's a journey.
Yeah. It is definitely a journey. And I think that's really true. Don't let the fact that you can't afford organic keep you from starting somewhere, which is really what's important here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your knowledge and your experience. And it's been truly an honor to have you on our summit.
Oh, I thank you so very much. I could not agree more. This is a big spiritual journey for us to reawaken to the possibilities. So, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. So this is Carol Laurie signing off for now. Please stay tuned, everyone. There will be more interviews on a daily basis. I hope everyone has a really wonderful day, and thank you again, Dr. Wahls.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.